Dear students, greetings for the day. Today we will study about Introduction to Composition Part 1. The areas covered in this lecture are Introduction to Composition, Principles of Composition, Methods of Composition. Composition. What is composition? Composition is the placement of relative objects and elements in a work of art. It is applicable to every art form like dance, music, installation, photography, painting and so on. The correct selection, arranging, organizing and combining the visual elements within the picture area to produce a harmonious and pleasing image in all the above-mentioned art forms is called composition. The term composition basically refers to placement and means of putting together any work of art using conscious thought. Anybody who has an interest in art must be careful of composition. The balancing of an image is done with the help of composition. Various elements in the overall design usually relate to each other in the whole artwork. The process of composition is done by a photographer while clicking a photograph by looking through a viewfinder. Suppose there is a flower, sky, a kid, and a butterfly in a frame. It is the skill of the photograph that can ensure a good composition. What is a good composition? A good composition is something that is not over-flooded with details and has only the definite number of details in it. The degree of goodness of composition determines the degree of goodness of image. A good composition is the resonance of good balancing done in an image. Any element that is not necessary for your purpose should be removed to ensure a perfect composition. This doesn't emphasize that to make an image good details need to be left out. Aim of composition. A good composition must be pleasing to the eye. The aim of a composition must be to show your subject or object in an appealing and aesthetically pleasing way. At the same time, not every work of art is supposed to be pleasing or beautiful to the viewer. There are artists who try to express varied ideas. Composition is one way to achieve this. The purpose of the photograph determines the aim of the photograph. The emotion of a photograph is delivered through a photograph. The composition aims in expressing the idea of the artist. Visual elements in composition. The visual elements are the building blocks of composition in art. An analysis of any drawing, painting, sculpture or design shows the visual elements in composition. The role of these elements is profound to the component parts of any art to see how they combine and creates the overall effect of the artwork. Primary visual elements in composition are line, shape, tone, texture, color, direction, size, form. It is important to take care that the visual elements maintains a relationship to one another. They are related to each other in different ways. The beginning of life of any image is as line drawings. It is these lines that cross each other resulting in the formation of shapes and patterns. These shapes are filled with color and tone or either simply repeated for the creation of patterns. The usage of rough surfaces is ensured while creating textures. Projecting these shapes into various dimensions like 3 or 4 gives a form to these shapes. Visual elements of composition in detail. Line is the visual path that enables the eye to move within the composition. It is the foundation of all drawing and is the first and most versatile element of the visual elements of art. The usage of line in an artwork can be done in many different ways. The suggestion to shape, pattern, form, structure, growth, depth, distance, rhythm, movement and a range of emotions are determined and can be drawn by using line. The various types of lines represent various psychological responses as well. The way one draws a line shows the different qualities represented by the artist who draws these lines. A keen looker of the lines can develop an idea with regard to the context, emotion and reflections an artist would have had while drawing a line. There are 4 categories of line that represents different psychological responses to drawing line. They are curved lines, horizontal lines, vertical lines and jagged lines. Curved lines suggests comfort and ease while drawing. Horizontal lines suggests distance and calm while drawing. Vertical lines suggests height and strength while drawing. Jagged lines suggest turmoil and anxiety while drawing. Along with psychological responses to drawing, these lines can also express different qualities as well. They are freehand lines can express the personal energy and mood of the artist while drawing. Mechanical lines can express a rigid control of the artist while drawing. Continuous lines can lead the eye in certain directions of the artist while drawing. Broken lines can express the ephemeral or the insubstantial of the artist while drawing. Thick lines can express strength of the artist while drawing. Thin lines can express delicacy of the artist while drawing. Shape. Shapes are the areas defined by edges within the piece of drawing, whether it is geometric or organic. The creation of shape can be natural or man-made, regular or irregular, flat, two-dimensional, or solid, three-dimensional, representational or abstract, geometric or organic, transparent or opaque, positive or negative, decorative or symbolic, colored, patterned or textured. The perspective of shapes. The shape of drawing a shape is called the perspective of shapes. Perspectives of shapes refer to the angles and curves appearing and disappearing, depending on our viewpoint. Perspective drawing refers to the technique one uses to describe this change. The behavior of shapes refers to using shapes to control your feelings in the composition of an artwork. Let's discuss some shapes and their associated emotions. Squares and rectangles can portray strength and stability in the beholder. Circles and ellipses can represent continuous movement in the beholder. Triangles can lead the eye in an upward movement in the beholder. Inverted triangles can create a sense of imbalance and tension in the beholder. Tone refers to the lightness or darkness of a color. The light, midtones and darks throughout the composition reflects the tone of an image. Adjusting the tonal values of an artwork results in the altering of its expressive character. What are the different purposes of tone? The different purposes of using tone include the creation of a contrast between light and dark, the creation of an illusion of form, the creation of a dramatic or tranquil atmosphere, the creation of a sense of depth and distance, and last but not least, the creation of a rhythm or pattern within a composition. Color. Color refers to the hues with their various values and intensities. Scholars are of opinion that color is the visual element that can have a stronger effective engagement with the senses of the beholder. The creation of a mood of atmosphere is done with the help of color. According to Art Factory, the approaches to light include color as tone, color as pattern, color as form, color as light, color as symbol, color as movement, color as harmony, color as mood, color as contrast. Direction refers to the visual roots. These directions can be vertical, horizontal or diagonal paths. In a design, image or graphics, the elements featured can literally follow the directions. Size is the relative dimensions and proportions of images or shapes to one another. It is a common understanding that the larger the visual elements, higher the visual weight will be. Small elements have lesser visual weights. The factors that influence the size are figure ground, proximity, similarity, contrast, focal point, and past experience. Figure ground is the usage of visual weights to separate the two elements in a picture by giving the figure more weight than the background. Proximity is the space between elements. This leads to different amounts of local white space, resulting in different densities of the objects within the space. Similarity and contrast is used in the visual weight to signal either a greater visual length is given by contrast while dealing with contrasting element. Focal point is the points of attraction in a composition. It is defined as the point at which rays or waves meet after reflection or refraction. It is also the point from which diverging rays or waves appear to proceed. Past experience is the viewer's experience in the quantity of intrinsic elements can be held on. Form is defined as the physical volume of a shape and the space this shape requires for occupying. It can be representational or abstract. The concept of form is generally referred to sculpture, 3D design and architecture, but may also relate to the illusion of 3D on a 2D surface. An expression of depth in an artwork. Foreground, middle ground, background is also reflected through form. (3D) form. The making of a 3D form or three-dimensional forms can be done in three ways. They are modeled, added form, carved, subtracted form, and constructed, built form. Sculptural materials like clay, wax, plaster, wood, stone, concrete, cast and constructed metal, plastics, resins, glass and mixed media are used for the construction of three-dimensional form. The recent innovations in 3D form also uses kinetic, involving light and movement generated by natural, mechanical and electronic means. The recent innovation to 3D can be called as CAD, computer-aided design. (2D) or two-dimensional form can construct an illusion of 3D in the 2D media. It is done with the help of skillful transformation and manipulation of the visual elements. Examples of 2D program include perspective drawing, 3D computer graphics programs and holograms. Rules of composition. There are some rules on composition that are considered as the standard while making composition. Let's discuss them in detail. Rule of thirds states that an image divided into 9 equal segments by 2 vertical and 2 horizontal lines must hold the most important scenes of an image.